Morning. Welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. Before we get into the talk about the transfers and the medical that's taking place down in London, we want to talk about when you become a Celtic player, you have the chance to become an absolute legend in the eyes of Celtic fans. We have some legends in the past. You look at Henrik Larsson, you look at Chris Sutton, and then you look at the likes of Alan Thompson, who could cross a ball fantastically, and he scored a couple of screamers also. And then you look at some defenders, and you think about big Virgil van Dijk. But there's one that we want to talk about who is going into retirement before the age of 30. Yes, he managed to win 11 trophies with Celtic, which a lot of people don't actually remember. But Big Jozo will always be remembered for this one tackle. Yes, it's an absolutely fantastic tackle, and it's one that will make him a Celtic legend for the rest of his life, no matter what he goes on to do. And as you can see, the ball coming back here, he goes in and he takes the ball cleanly, wiping out the Rangers player, Kenny Miller. What a shame. It goes down in history as one of the best tackles ever made by a Celtic defender, and even better that it wiped out the one and only greeting-face Kenny Miller at the time. It's Kenny Miller, who's now a pundit, and who just talks about everything with his blue-tinted spectacles on. But now we see him here flying into the air, and this video had over 1.2 million views, this particular one on YouTube. But it was a fantastic tackle, and you've got to say, what a legend. What a legend to do that at Ibrox. And there's the Rangers manager at the time, absolutely freaking out. So at this point, we want to wish Jozo all the best in his career. I understood that he's been at uni the last 2 years, and that he has decided to hang up his boots. And you've got to remember, at his time at Celtic, he did have a lot of knee problems. So yeah, you've got to look after yourself. And it's just a reminder that as a football player, it is just a short career that they do have. They can be done and dusted before they're even 30. So all the best to Jozo, and you'll forever be a Celtic legend. Right, let's get to the Celtic news this morning. Celtic are surprisingly to me, back in talks with Brøndby. Yes, remember they went in for Matthias Kidfjord, and I did say that I couldn't see Celtic going back in for a player that they'd made a bid for in the summer. But if Brendan Rodgers wants his man, it looks like he's going back for him. A lot of speculation this morning said that Celtic have reopened talks with the Danish side Brøndby over a potential to sign Matthias Kidfjord, which will be an interesting one to see if Celtic do, because they're obviously wanting more money than they did in the summer. Now, Celtic haggled over a couple of $100,000 in the summer. Are they going to go back and make the offer that they want now? Is Brendan Rodgers that determined to get his player? Has Brendan Rodgers turned around to the hierarchy at Celtic and said, look, these 9 players that you brought in the summer are just not good enough for Celtic if you want to take us to that next level, to be able to compete at a European level and get more than 4 points in the Champions League, we need to bring in better players, he would have said to them. Anyway, Nicholas Cunn, he is down in London. He will be partaking in a medical this morning before he flies up to Glasgow to sign on the dotted line. In fact, he'll probably sign the deal down in London, because that's what Celtic generally do. They have everything done and dusted with the lawyers down in London before they fly up to Celtic Park. Well, it will be Lennoxtown they'll go up to. He'll go in and you'll see Celtic Park and you get his pictures taken and all the rest of it. Once the social media side's done, it will then be announced to us as Celtic fans that the deal is done. Another one that looks like it might happen, which is a strange one, is Adam Montgomery. You remember him? He was brought back from Fleetwood Town just last week, and I thought he'd be brought in to maybe be put in around the first team, but it looks like Brendan Rodgers wants him to go out on loan again in Scotland. It seems to be the fact that if we can get our players out playing in the SPFL, there's more chance of them actually getting recalled and put back into the Celtic team. Like one defender that's playing at Celtic and having a fantastic season. But it looks like he's going from Fleetwood Town. He came back last week, and Adam Montgomery will be going to Liverpool for a loan deal for the rest of the season as Celtic look to get out more of their fringe players into the SPFL. Because let's face it, if they can do it for other teams in the SPFL, they can then come back to Celtic, like the one and only Liam Scales and lots of other players beforehand. So tell me what you think about that. Tell me what you think about Big Jozo Simunovic, because you've got to think he is a player and a half that that tackle will always go down in history. Now let's get back to the Celtic transfer window. I'm seeing a lot of people online on social media, and thank God the FIFA managers don't actually manage Celtic, including myself. A lot of people saying that it's been a disappointing window so far. I think we need to give Brendan Rodgers a little bit more credit where credit's due, because let's face it, he wasn't too bad a manager his first time round, and once he gets his own players in. Now, when you look at the players that all came in the summer, there were a lot of the players that weren't his players. They were brought in by the previous manager. So what does that tell us about the previous manager? Was he lucky? Was he lucky in his transfer dealings the first time round? But no, we're just joking about that. But we look at Brendan Rodgers and the fact that he's now getting to get the type of player that he wants into Celtic. I think it's going to be an interesting time. We all knew in the summer as Celtic fans that we didn't really need 9 players in, and we certainly didn't need 9 prospect players brought into the club. But what we did need is we needed a left back, a goalkeeper, and maybe a striker. When you look at it, we're bringing in another winger, but we need another winger in just to make sure, because let's face it, in the summer, Celtic will be planning forward for the summer, and there probably will be more players that leave in the summer, and I think a couple of wingers might leave in the summer also. The fact that we're getting this guy in, Kuhn, it's forward looking, if you ask me. The summer transfer window, was it a disappointment? A lot of people said it was a good window, but when you see the players that have made the impact, there's only been the one player, and that's Lewis Palmer, that has made an impact. As it been a few of them have left the building already to go back out on loan, and a few will leave over the next week or so. But let's give Brendan Rodgers a couple of windows just to get in his own type of player. He has admitted that the players were already earmarked to come into Celtic before he entered the building, and he basically signed them off. Going on the recommendations of the people in the backroom staff. And now that he's had a look at them, he's now getting his own type of player in. Let's give him the time. And let's see what he can do next summer. Because let's face it, I think the squad is still strong enough to win this league. I mean, people say that we need to improve the squad to win the league. Personally, I don't think so. I think we'll still win the league. I think this group of players have been over the course the last couple of seasons. And you've got to remember, Callum McGregor and James Forrest have been here many, many times before, where even Brendan Rodgers said, look, I think it's 5 managers he's seen off now at his time at Celtic over both times. And each time he's been told the Rangers are coming, and we're still waiting on them. And we'll give a little nod to them, because I understand that they are in Spain at a hot weather training camp, and the manager managed to get sent off, and he was watching them from behind a fence. Yes, he was watching his team from behind a fence. And on that note, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans all around the world. As soon as the Nico deal is done, we will get up with an updated video on that, and we will get a welcome to Celtic video up. Will we? No, I won't bother, will we? Anyway, on that note, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you're watching this video, all around the world.
Lit. Roll up to the party, roll up to the